Alright, so this thing won't let me zoom or make a lot of adjustments, and I think it's because I'm using my front-facing camera, which is helpful for me so I can at least see what's going on. Not really framed well either. I do try to take a little more pride in my video than what seems to be happening here. But this is Adventures with Jill, and I am going to try to post something every day. We'll see how that goes. But Adventures with Jill is going to be my autobiography channel. So in my channel, I want to talk about my past. I have not had a boring life. I've been to 28 countries, 32 states, and 4 continents. So I'm well traveled, not the most traveled person in the world, but certainly well traveled. I have lots of stories of my childhood, different places I've lived, different places I've visited. So there's a lot of things to cover there. Also, I want to do my day to day life, things I've done like today and what's happening. And then also talk about my future plans, what I want to do, maybe my goals on how to get there. Well, my goals and then my plans on how to get there. But, goals change, plans will change. This could be entertaining looking back and say 6 months ago, Jill was going to do this. And yeah, that was a crock of you know what, because it didn't happen that way. So to get things started, I just want to take a few minutes to talk about my current state, what's going on in my life, what I'm doing now, why I am where I am, doing what I am. And then probably every day post some sort of video. Um, right now, these videos are going to be very, very raw, and most likely completely unedited. Now, I would prefer to edit these videos. I would prefer for these to have a more professional production to them than what they have right now. I simply don't have time for that. I'm very, very, very busy. And as I expound more on what I'm doing, you'll understand why I'm busy doing what I'm doing. Um, but I'll, I'm sure that the production quality of this stuff will go up. And I do have a vision for Adventures with Jill. And some people say, don't don't do it if you can't do it right. And I get that. I mean, I understand that completely. But I want to start, and I don't have time to do this the right way. So I'm going to start now. And, if people listen and watch this, great. If they drop off, I don't blame them. So, Adventures with Jill, what's going on today? What happened in my life today? Why am I where I am today? I believe it was Friday, July 11th of 2025. I was working at Miles IT as a technical architect, and I was making $96,500 a year. I had just gotten a pay raise the last Friday in June, and I had a one-on-one scheduled meeting with my boss that would happen usually pretty regularly, but we try to do it once every 2 weeks on a Friday at 9 o'clock in the morning. I joined the meeting. The vice president of projects was in the meeting, which isn't unheard of, unexpected, but sometimes, he wants to communicate something or whatever. Not a big deal. 10 seconds later, the head of HR joined the meeting, and I knew instantly that I was being fired. I was never given any explanation for this termination, but I was told that the termination was effective immediately. I had no warning that this was happening. I didn't get written up or anything like that. Um, I'm clueless. I'm still clueless to this day. I was never provided an explanation. I'm hurt. Um, I have no bitterness or malice. I try not to allow bitterness and malice in my life. It doesn't do any good. So, there's forgiveness there. I'm looking at that event as an opportunity. Okay. So I'm trying to keep a positive perspective on this, but I got married in the end of September of last year. I bought this house in Florida on the 10th of September of last year. I went on a 19-day vacation / cruise in Europe in May of 2025, and I had racked up a significant amount of debt. It was planned, it was expected. I didn't have an issue with it. Um, I do prefer to use credit cards for things and um, gather the rewards points. Um, I knew I needed to use the credit cards to pay for these trips because I didn't have the cash or the stuff to do around the house that needed to be done, uh, and so forth. So these were planned expenses. I was making good income. I was working ungodly hours at Miles IT. And I mean, I was working my 8 to 5, and then they had me working on a project where I was working from 10, 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock at night till 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, and then expected to be back at work at 8 o'clock in the morning. So it was brutal, but I was anticipating this project and the money I was getting from this project to get me out of debt. And that was planned, it was expected. I didn't expect to lose my job with no warning. So that's kind of a strange situation for me. So now I don't have any income. I have a mortgage. I have a wife, Karen, who is contributing and giving me a significant amount of money every month to help me with my bills. So, what am I doing for income? I am driving for Lyft and Uber. I live in Ocala. There is very, very, very little opportunity in Ocala for Lyft and Uber drivers, uh, especially if you're trying to cover a mortgage, pay off credit cards, etc., etc., etc. So, what I've been doing is Karen usually gets up at 3:45 every morning. Friday mornings, I'm getting up with her at 3:45 in the morning. I'm showering, brushing my teeth, packing a cooler, and packing a backpack with a few days of clothes in it. and I am turning on Lyft and Uber, and I am driving to Orlando, and I am spending the weekend in Orlando. And there are some safe places to park there. I'm not going to divulge that on this video, but there are some safe places to park there. And I'm sleeping in my car from about midnight till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and then going back online, going to Wawa's or Circle K's or something like that, and freshen up in the morning, change my clothes, and drive again till midnight. And then doing this all day Friday, all day Saturday, and then Sunday start heading home around 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, hoping to be home by 4 o'clock. I am making 5, 6. Last week I made $700 on a weekend. So if I could make $600 a month, that's give $600 a weekend. I'm looking at $2,400 plus the money that Karen's given me, and she's helping out with some of the utilities and stuff like that. I am making ends meet. I'm really, really working hard. But there's something else going on. If you look at any of my YouTube videos, so I have a YouTube channel called Cooking with Jill. There's also a Facebook page for Cooking with Jill. A spin-off from that is another YouTube channel, Isle Finds with Jill, AISLE. We're doing all these product comparison videos on that, and that channel is starting to take off. I do believe I created a Facebook page, but I'm not sure I've actually uploaded any of the videos to Facebook with that. I should. And if you look at any of the videos there, you'll see in the bottom left corner a little logo, Success Driven Media. I have started a business here in Florida for Success Driven Media to help people with social media management, helping them with ideate, plan, strategize, record, edit, and so forth, and then ultimately publish. And I want to help people with that. I started setting up my YouTube and Facebook presence and realized there was a lot more to it than what some people think. Also, the business aspect of it. A lot of people don't understand the legal business things that need to take place. So I started thinking, maybe I could do this business and help people. So that gets into what I did today. Today, I was accepted at a BNI chapter, Business Networking International. Today was my first day in the chapter. And I actually met several people, and there's the potential of getting some significant business there. If I can get some business from these people, then I won't have to drive for Lyft and Uber. I will make enough money to cover my bills and so forth. That is the plan. But I'm also working on my YouTube channels. Right now, Cooking with Jill has 234 subscribers, and that's not bad. Isle Finds with Jill has only been up for about 6 weeks, and it's got 21 subscribers. And I don't think that's bad. I'm learning a lot about YouTube. I'm learning a lot about video design, retention techniques, and so forth for videos. I'm not really worried about that with these videos here with Adventures with Jill, because I'm really just trying to vent. Okay. I want to do a vlog, and this is me just putting something out there. This is extremely, extremely raw. I've got my cell phone clamped to a railing on my front porch of the house, and I'm sitting on a bench of the front porch of the house, and it's about right now it's about 9:15 or 9:30 at night. Um, and I may do a lot of videos here. So eventually, I will get these to be more professional when I am not having to drive all these crazy hours. When I do this, Mondays, I'm just a vegetable trying to recuperate from a lack of sleep and exhaustion from driving 20, 21 hours a day. Uh, so for 3 days in a row. So that's pretty brutal. I'm really kind of almost putting in 60 hours of work in 3 days, trying to make enough money to pay my mortgage. Um, but what I want to do is just put this out there every day. I think this is a longer video, um, but probably I would expect these videos to be 3 to 7 or 8 minutes, 10 minutes max. I will talk about a lot of different things that have happened in my life. Um, I would like to get this set up as more of an interview rather than just Jill sitting here talking. Um, I have looked into a way of maybe having an AI character interview me. Um, just so you know, if you are going to get into YouTube and social media, you need to master AI. There's lots and lots and lots of AI tools out there. You need to master AI. AI is great for coaching, great for advice, great for bouncing creative ideas off of AI. I use Gemini. I used to use ChatGPT. I ran into technical problems with ChatGPT where the chats just really just kind of fill up and you got to start over from scratch. Where Gemini has a greater value, a capacity, greater capacity for longer chats so that I can keep a theme and a conversation going on where I was very deep into a conversation, a strategic conversation with ChatGPT, and all of a sudden it just kind of took a crap. And I really just had to start over. And because I use Gmail and Google Workspace for my business, I have access to Gemini that's included with that service. So I'm going like, why should I spend this money for ChatGPT when I've got a very robust AI assistant available to me? AI does not generate my content, but it can help me with ideation, and it helps me sometimes think about things or mention things from a different perspective that perhaps I didn't think about. So, but I am coming up with an AI character that I'm going to call Eileen, Aileen. And we'll see. I mean, from what I've seen, I should be able to get Eileen to interact with me, ask me questions, and react to the things I'm saying. Maybe, help me delve deeper into the stories and information that I'm looking to share. I don't see Eileen coming online for the next 2 months or so, partly because I don't have the time to really focus on that development, which is why one of the reasons why this channel is going to be very, very raw for the time being. So I did my BNI. I know I'm running down rabbit trails and stuff like that. I did my BNI this morning. And then I took my car to the local Nissan dealer, had an oil change, tires rotated, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Um, Came home, I took a little nap, and then started working. I'm doing a website for a friend of mine, and I really need to get this website wrapped up. In fact, after I finish with this video, I'm going to continue working on her website, and I'm about ready to start finish with my overall design, and then take current pages as templates and just be able to. We already have the text and some of the images for the rest of the pages of the website, and I should be able to crank those out pretty quickly in a matter of a few hours. But I'm working on the formatting of the website and working out the gory details of the formatting so it looks good on a phone, looks good on a desktop, and I'm hoping to have that worked out tonight. This afternoon, I cooked dinner for Karen. She's been craving um, shake and bake pork chops. So we had shake and bake pork chops with some mashed potatoes. Dinner was good. And then I went to a local, they call it Wind Down Wednesdays. It's a business networking group for some local people here in town and small business owners that are just connecting, maybe sharing some leads with one another, having dinner together. Of course, I didn't have dinner because I'd already had dinner with Karen, but I sat there and had a glass of water and chit chatted with friends. And then I finished that and left there around 7 and put Lyft and Uber online and decided to drive up to the local mall. Sometimes people need a ride coming away from the mall, going home, things like that. I wasn't going to invest a lot of time in Lyft and Uber because, like I said, getting rides around here is just really difficult. But while I was in the parking lot, literally, I was just going to drive around the mall and then head home. I did get a ride. I had to go pick up a lady who was working. It was only 4 minutes away, but then I had to take her home, which took me 22 minutes east of Ocala, and I live southwest of Ocala. And I dropped her off. Google Maps said I was 32 minutes from home. So I drove home, not a thing from Uber and Lyft. Um, so, Karen was telling me, try to drive Uber and Lyft so you don't have to go to Orlando so much. Well, when I first started doing it a few weeks ago, I wasn't getting rides here. I started going down to Orlando, started learning more and more about Uber and Lyft and strategies of working in Orlando. Originally, I only made $300 a weekend. That has slowly now gone up, where this past weekend, I think I made $725 in Orlando. So I'm learning that. But this week has also been evidence to me that Uber and Lyft here in Ocala is pretty much a waste of time if I'm trying to cover a mortgage and all my bills and expenses. So that's just not gonna do. I drove a little bit on Friday night, a little bit on Tuesday morning, and a little bit, just one ride this evening, and a total of about 12 hours, and I made almost exactly $100, which isn't necessarily a good thing. So, and that was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So that's not going to cut the mustard. So I think that's it for today. It's a little bit about where I've come from, where I'm going with my business, um, and how I'm looking to grow the business. And we'll get more into my YouTube channels. We'll get more into my past. We'll get more into what's happening in my day to day life. And then we'll also talk about the plans for the future. I want to visit all 7 continents. Um, I've been North America, Europe, Asia, and Africa. I still need to go to Antarctic. I need to go to South America, and I need to go to Australia, New Zealand, down under. And by the way, let's make sure I say this right. Estoy aprendiendo español. I am learning Spanish. I use Duolingo. I think I'm right around 440 days in a row. No, I crossed 450 because it just gave me a new milestone. So I'm probably sitting around 452 days in a row that I've done a streak on Duolingo trying to learn Spanish. I've also joined a bilingual Toastmasters group that is in both English and Spanish to help me interact with people in Spanish. When I'm driving for Lyft and Uber, I frequently get riders, say, coming in from South America or from Puerto Rico or local people that speak Spanish. And I get an opportunity to do a little bit of interaction in Espanol. So, anyway, those are the things going on. Um, y'all have fun.